If I told you that a woman has been thinking about someone else every night before bed for 40 years, would you believe me? I am that woman, and today I'm confessing this to you because I have nothing left to hide. My time is short, my regrets are many, and maybe someone listening to my story won't make the mistake I made. Maybe someone will have courage, maybe someone will listen to their heart, because I didn't. My name is Margaret. I'm 68 years old. From the outside, everyone sees me as a happy, successful woman. I have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, a beautiful home, a faithful husband. But nobody knows that I've been a liar for 42 years. Every day when I wake up, I lie. Every night when I go to bed, I lie. Even when I look at myself in the mirror, I lie. Because I'm not happy. Maybe I never was. It was night. I was 26 years old. I was studying literature at Columbia University in New York. Back then I had dreams, I had passions, my heart still knew how to beat. Now it just does its duty, nothing more. There were 2 men in my life at that time. One's name was Robert, the son of my father's business partner, a financial analyst, organized, reliable, calculated, someone who planned everything. The families knew each other, everyone approved. "Sweetheart, you can't find a man like this," my mother would say. "He'll make you happy, give you security," my father would say. And Robert really was a good person, a good man. But ordinary, predictable, safe. The other one's name, saying his name even now burns inside me. But I'll say it, because if I'm going to tell this story, there's no point in hiding his name anymore. His name was James. James was completely different. He was a musician. He would wander the streets of Greenwich Village with his guitar, play in small coffee shops. He had no money, no plan, no future, but there was a light in his eyes, a passion, a life. The first time I saw him, he was at a cafe in the West Village, standing on a small stage, eyes closed, playing his guitar and singing. When I heard that voice, something inside me broke, or maybe it woke up for the first time. I don't know. When the song ended, he opened his eyes and looked at me, directly at me. That look, I can't describe that look, but in that moment I knew my life was about to change. A week later, I went back to that cafe. He was there. We started talking. We talked for hours, about books, music, dreams, about life. I had never talked like that with Robert. When I talked with Robert, we always discussed practical things, work, money, future, wedding plans. But the soul didn't speak, the heart didn't speak. Everything was different with James. When I talked with him, I wasn't afraid to be myself. I would laugh like crazy. I would say silly things. I would dream, and he would listen to me, really listen. It lasted 6 months. Secret meetings, stolen kisses, forbidden moments. I knew it was wrong. I had given my word to Robert. The families were preparing for the engagement, but I couldn't stop. When I was with James, I was alive. Truly alive. One day, it was a rainy autumn evening, he took me to the Brooklyn Bridge. He took out his guitar and told me he had written a song, just for me. When he started playing, I started crying, because that song described me, everything inside me, my fears, my dreams, my passions, my love. When the song ended, he held my hand. "Margaret," he said, "I love you, and I know this is crazy. I have nothing to offer you. No money, no house, no secure future, but there's one thing I can give you, real love, a life where every day is an adventure, where every moment is lived fully. Come with me, run away with me. I know everyone will object, but you and me, we're enough for each other." That moment, do you know what I answered? I cried. I just cried. And then, "James, I can't. My family, Robert, I gave my word. I can't," I said. The light in his eyes went out. "Margaret," he said, "if you make this choice now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life, because real love comes once, and you're about to reject it." "Maybe you're right," I said, "but I can't be brave. I'm scared, James. Life with you is too uncertain. What if we burn? What if we fail?" He smiled sadly. "What if we don't burn, Margaret? What if we never live at all? Which is worse?" The next day I sat down with my family. My mother was showing wedding invitations. My father had taken me to see the house Robert had bought in Westchester. "Look, honey," he said, "what a beautiful home you'll build together." I was about to open my mouth and tell the truth. "Mom, Dad, I love someone else," I was going to say, but I couldn't. because when I looked at my mother, I saw the happiness in her eyes. When I looked at my father, I saw his pride. When I looked at Robert, I saw his goodness. And when I looked at myself, I only saw fear. Fear won. That night I called James. He wanted to meet, but I refused. I told him over the phone, James, I'm marrying Robert. This is how it should be. You're amazing, but we can't be. Please understand me. There was a long silence. Then I understand, he said. His voice was very calm, very empty. I hope you'll be happy, Margaret. I really do. And he hung up. That night I cried until morning. But the next day, when my mother showed me my wedding dress, I smiled. I got into my role, the role of the happy bride. In May 1982, Robert and I got married. It was a big wedding at the Plaza Hotel. Everyone was very happy. And I looked happy too. On the first night, when we went to our new house in Westchester, Robert turned to me and said, Margaret, I love you very much. I'm going to make you very happy. I smiled. Me too, I said. But I didn't say I love you. I couldn't, because I didn't want to lie that much. Did Robert notice? I don't know. Maybe he noticed but ignored it. Or maybe he never noticed at all. Months passed. Years passed. Robert was a good husband, just as he promised. Hard-working, reliable, faithful. He brought home money regularly. Did he cheat on me? No. Did he treat me badly? Never. But he never loved me with passion. Or maybe I didn't give him that kind of love, so he couldn't either. Our marriage became a routine. Morning breakfast, evening dinner, weekend trips to see family. A safe, boring, predictable life. In 1984, my first daughter Sarah was born. When she was born, a strange feeling awakened in me. Joy or fear, I don't know. Maybe both. Because now I couldn't go back. Now I had become a mother. There were responsibilities. Leaving Robert now would affect not just me, but this innocent baby too. I couldn't say I wish anymore. I would tell myself it's over now. But did I? No. When Sarah was 2 years old, I was at a grocery store in Manhattan. I parked the car and turned around to get my daughter, and I saw him, James. He was standing on the opposite sidewalk. He looked older, but it was the same James. His guitar case was still on his back. Our eyes met, and that moment, I went back 3 years. Again that excitement, that panic, that regret. He started walking toward me, crossing the street. My heart was beating wildly. What would I do? What would I say? But at that moment Sarah started crying. I turned, picked her up, and when I looked at James again, he was gone. Maybe he wasn't really there. Maybe I imagined it. I don't know, but what I know is, that day when I went home and looked at Robert, I hated him for the first time. An unreasonable, unfair, illogical hatred, because he wasn't James. Years flowed by. In 1987 my son Michael was born. In 1991 my second daughter Emily. 3 children, a beautiful house in Connecticut, a solid marriage, a perfect family from the outside, but from the inside, surface conversations, polite gestures, habits, but no soul, no passion. Sometimes at night, after Robert fell asleep, I would look out the window and think, where is James now? Is he happy? Did he get married? Does he have children? Does he remember me? And then I would get angry with myself. Stop it, Margaret, that's over. You're a mother now, a wife. Stop dreaming. But I couldn't stop. I never could. It was 2000. My eldest daughter Sarah had graduated from NYU and met a young man. His name was Daniel. He was an artist, a musician. The first time she brought him home, I trembled inside. Because when I looked at Sarah, I saw myself. I saw that light in her eyes. Robert didn't like him. Honey, this boy has no future. A musician. Look, your uncle's friend has a son, a lawyer at a big firm. Let me introduce you, he said. Robert said, love fades, sweetheart, but stability, security, these are permanent. At that moment I froze, because the words coming out of Robert's mouth were the words my father had told me 24 years ago. Sarah turned to me crying, Mom, you tell Dad, you married for love too, you'll explain, right? That moment I should have stayed silent. I should have stood by Robert's side, but I couldn't. Sarah, I said, with a trembling voice, if you really love him, don't give up for anything, because giving up on love means giving up on yourself, and you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Robert looked at me in shock. Margaret, what are you saying? I'm telling the truth, Robert, I said. Sarah's happiness is more important than her security. Sarah married Daniel, and you know what happened? They're very happy. They've been married for 18 years, and they still look at each other like lovers. When I look at them, my heart breaks, because they're living, and I just exist. Last year Robert had a heart attack. He stayed in the hospital for a long time. He recovered, but now he gets tired quickly. One day, sitting by his bedside in the hospital, he held my hand. Margaret, he said, it's been 42 years since we got married. Did I make you happy? I swallowed. I hope so, I said. But were you happy? He asked. I couldn't answer that question. I just squeezed his hand.
Robert smiled sadly. "I knew," he said. "I always knew, Margaret. You never loved me, did you?" My tears flowed. "Robert, you don't need to say it," he said. "I knew too, from the first day, but I loved you so much that I hoped one day you would love me too. But it didn't happen, did it?" "Robert, you're a very good person," I said, crying. "Really a good person. But you loved someone else," he said. "That musician, James." I was shocked. "You knew?" "Of course I knew, Margaret. You were never a good liar. Your eyes always searched for somewhere else. You would murmur another name in your dreams." Crying, I said, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Robert. I was scared, I couldn't be brave. And then you were a good person. There were children, there was family. I couldn't escape." "You couldn't escape," Robert said. "But actually, you mostly escaped from yourself, Margaret, from your own happiness." Robert's words echoed in my head for days. Did I escape from myself? Yes, I did. One day, I couldn't stand it. I opened the computer and started searching for James, and I found him. James was living in Portland, Oregon. He was still a musician. He owned a small music school. He was married. He had a daughter. I saw his photos. He had aged, but still had that same light in his eyes. There was a photo with his wife. The way they looked at each other, it was passion, it was love, and I understood. James had been happy without me. He had lived his life, but I had never been happy without James. This is why I'm telling you this story today. I'm 68 years old, and my life is a regret. I was unfair to Robert. He was a good man, but I condemned him to a marriage where I didn't love him. I was unfair to James. I said no to him because I was afraid, but most of all, I was unfair to myself, because I silenced my heart. I killed my passion. I buried my dreams. I lived for 42 years, but now when I look in the mirror, I see an old woman. I have wrinkles, my hair is white, my hands tremble. But you know what's worst? When I look into my eyes, I see emptiness, because that light, that passion, that life, it died 40 years ago, and it never burned again. If you are young right now, if your heart is beating for someone, if your family or society is pushing you towards someone else but you really love someone else, please don't make my mistake. Please choose love, not security. Please choose courage, not fear. Please choose yourself, not others. Because life is lived once, and 40 years later when you look back and say I wish, it will be too late. I'm Margaret. I'm 68 years old, and I made the wrong decision 40 years ago. You, please make the right one, because living with regret is worse than never living at all.